Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Movie Club is a show where we pick a movie every week and discuss it, just like a book club. On today's show, we're covering the Hollywood drama of Sunset Boulevard. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 1950, Sunset Boulevard was directed by Billy Wilder and stars William Holden, Gloria Swanson, and Erich von Stroheim. A screenwriter develops a dangerous relationship with a faded film star determined to make a triumphant return. It is ranked 62 on IMDb's Top 250 and has a 4.4 out of 5 on Letterboxd and is ranked number 34 on its Top 250. It was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including Best Film Editing, Best Cinematography, Best Supporting Actress for Nancy Olson, Best Supporting Actor for Erich von Stroheim, Best Actor for William Holden, Best Actress for Gloria Swanson, and Best Picture. It won 3 Academy Awards for Best Art Direction, Best Original Score, and Best Director. Before we dive into our thoughts, though, we do want to issue a spoiler warning for the film. This is one that probably a lot of you, I'm guessing, have probably never seen before, so we don't want to spoil it for you, because I know for a fact that we both really enjoyed this movie, and you should probably go check it out and not get spoiled on it. But do pay attention to what we're gonna, end of the show thing, because that's gonna happen. But we're gonna talk about what movie we're doing next week, and it is a big one. Okay, Kevin. So Sunset Boulevard is here. We're back to this being my pick this week for a movie to watch, and I picked this one because I simply wanted you to watch it. Because I have already seen it before. I have reviewed it. I believe we covered this on Drive Back podcast, but I just wanted to go ahead and get you to check it out as well.
Yes.
So because of that, had you heard of this movie before at all, or was this like not really something you'd heard of?
Nope. Didn't hear this movie at all. Had no idea what it was.
Glad that I could do that for you. So obviously you're coming in completely blind, had no idea anything that was going on. I have heard about this movie in film classes and saw it in film class and have watched it several times. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Obviously, you can go back in the YouTube channel and see what I think about this movie. So I want to hear, Kevin, your initial thoughts here on Sunset Boulevard.
The performance by Gloria Swanson is amazing in this movie. She is fantastic as this old school Hollywood person who still wants to be famous but can't because she can't get with the times. That's how I got from it. Or that they want to move on to something else, and she portrays that in trying to find somebody that would help her get back into the movies and into Paramount's it's Paramount movie, so they go into Paramount Studios. But she is fantastic in this movie. William Holden as well is really good in this movie. His narration is fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Could fall asleep to it. And then and then the shots of just the houses we're in the house a majority of the time, but it looks so big in that house, and because it is a big house, but it looks so much bigger. There's so much more that could be going on in that house that we don't know about, and you come to find out that she's just a little lonely old woman who wants to just get back to her glory days, pretty much. And that's what I got from it. There was some twists and turns in here that I did not see coming, which I was like, oh my gosh, really? That's who this is, blah blah blah. And that's what made it so suspenseful, and I loved how they started it and I loved how they ended it. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's such a great movie, and it is one of those movies like you could. There's a triple feature actually with this one. Usually you hear double features. There's a triple feature with this one, with Sunset Boulevard, Singing in the Rain, and The Artist, which are all very different interpretations of similar ideas, which is really fascinating. But obviously Sunset Boulevard is the more drama heavy, more thriller-y version, film noir a little bit as well, but
Mm-hmm.
not like a detective thing. And it's just this movie is pure mood. Like
Yeah.
it is tone, it is ambiance, and it's just this like the connection between Gloria Swanson and William Holden is like electrifying. Because like
Yeah.
and you mentioned the shots of the house in this movie, and it's
Mm-hmm.
shot so well because the house, while it isn't really, it feels like a prison.
Yeah, it really does.
And in many ways, Gloria Swanson feels like the warden to that
Mm-hmm.
prison. And it's a really fascinating dynamic that she has with William Holden in this movie. There's twinges of a little bit of a romance kind of a thing
Mm-hmm.
here and there. There's definitely, you're hiding from the cops kind of a thing. So I'll keep it here, but you have to work for me then. Like there's a lot going on here. It's very deep and very nuanced.
And a lot of foreshadowing as well in this movie.
Yes, probably the
Mhm.
most not the most one of the most iconic opening shots and opening sequences in film history is in this movie. Because you're seeing, we already said spoiler warning for the film. You're
Yep.
seeing the end of the movie.
Yeah, but
Um,
they pointed out like it's not the end of the like they kind of pointed out it's the end of the movie, but then you're like, so how did he get to this point? And that's where the journey starts, and that's what's awesome about it. And I was talking about foreshadowing. Yeah, when she finds Holden, or when Holden finds her, it looks like it's a disgusting, not a disgusting house, but it's very cluttered, and it's very it's not pretty. So like the pool's not clean, it doesn't have water in it, everything like that. And then when she starts to have feelings for Holden's character, then she starts to clean up the house and everything like that. And you
I'm
can
glad you
kind of
noticed that on a first viewing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going, but how does it get from the first shot to the end shot? And it literally, it's like shot when he's in the pool, and then shot when he's at the end in the pool, but then it goes a little bit further, which I kind of liked a little bit. It wasn't just shot, he's dead here, okay, end the movie. It's like, no, they went into a little bit more, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, you got to capture the attention of the audience in that first few minutes, and then later, once they've already given you the time, you can go further and kind of explain things more. It's really well done.
Yeah, and like you were saying, she's the warden of the prison. She makes him feel bad for anything that he does. Like she slits
But also
his,
makes him feel good too.
yeah, but she slits his wrists when he goes out and doesn't come back in time, so it makes him worry about her.
Slits
And then
her wrists.
her wrists, I'm sorry, yes,
Yeah.
slits her wrists, makes him worry about her. But then that's when you feel like, so do you actually, the Holden's character in my mind, I'm like, do you actually care about her then? Like, do you have feelings? Because he kind of push away feelings. Like he kind of wants to have feelings with her, but kind of doesn't at the same time. But then when he rushes home, I'm like, okay, you must have feelings for this person, because you wouldn't rush off to her, if that makes sense. And that's what I was like, oh, that's kind of, they're swaying too much on the fence, I think, with that.
I wouldn't say that he has romantic feelings for her. I mean, I could go back and forth on that, depending on the day. It almost more feels like she or he, is almost like a parent thing, right? Like I forget the exact name of it, but like there's some kinds of relationships people have where they'll be with someone as a companion who's older, who will like take care of them and pay for stuff for them, but they're also there for them kind of as a friend, and like so it's like an exchange kind of a thing. I kind of see his more of like, sure, maybe he has a love for her, but it's more like a family type love, or like a parent or a sibling, like that kind of a love, not like a romantic one. Because he genuinely feels bad when something happens to her, or like when she slits her wrists or whatever, and it affects him and his life. But there's also there's no reciprocation, because she kind of starts it looks like she starts having romantic feels for him. She definitely gets jealous when he's around the other girl, or Nancy Olsen. But like it's just not reciprocated, and that could also be a reason why she gets a little upset with him as the movies go on, or as the movie goes on. But it's definitely an odd relationship to show at this time. Like sugar mama. That's what I was thinking. Sugar mama or a sugar daddy, right? Like it's kind of an early version of that. And what's really interesting though is that as much as she may or may not have feelings for him, she is a master manipulator.
Oh yeah.
And especially it's kind of funny after watching My Fair Lady, which came out around the same time. It's like the same within the 10 years of each other. And they both prominently feature manipulators kind of getting their way with the person, right? Okay. Obviously My Fair Lady ends more positively than this one does. But you never really saw movies where the woman was taking advantage of the man, which is really cool to see, especially for the 50s. Because there's all this promise that she has power and pull, and she doesn't. It's so fascinating.
Like she used to. She feels like she does because she used to have that pull and that power, and she wants it to be that way again. And you can see how desperately she wants it. Oh, we're gonna have a New Year's Eve ball, and everyone's invited, but it's just them two. She doesn't really have anybody except for her butler and him when he shows up. And that butler twist was really interesting. I did not see that one coming. I was like, what? He's the ex-husband and he's still hanging around? But that's how she manipulates them, is he's still hanging around even though she's seeing other people. And I'm like, wow. That's crazy.
There's some really interesting stuff here, especially for a 50s movie. It's fascinating from head to toe. Like way better writing than you're kind of expecting from this kind of story, from this kind of perspective at this time. It is something truly special. And like, story aside, characters aside, the movie is gorgeous. It's a black and white film, but it, you notice it in how beautiful it is. Like, because black and white films have this beauty to them. There's this innate presence and just vibe, and and it nails it here. The dark scenes feel dark, and then obviously the light feels light. It's really, really well done technically, as well as it is storytelling wise and performance wise, beginning to end. It is a fantastic movie, and I think like a lot of people nowadays who say that there's not a lot of the old films don't do it as well as they do today. This movie does. Like, this movie is still better written than a lot of thriller dramas are today. And it's so much more fascinating.
Yeah,
I could definitely see a remake of this potentially happening with like modern day stars.
I don't think it would.
I don't think they should
not hit the same, because it was so iconic back then, and then rewatching it now, knowing it's a 50s movie, is like, oh my gosh, they actually thought about this way back then, when it wasn't in the forefront as it is nowadays. And I don't know if I would like it in color. There's too much color sometimes in some movies. It oversaturates the camera with this black and white, and I loved how it is a noir film too. It's black and white noir, and it doesn't feel like I see him on the corner over there and stuff like that. It's like I know, it's pretty good.
See, that old bag up on the hill. See,
but it's a different kind of noir. It's not perspective of the policeman. It's a perspective from the person who is killed, which is very interesting as well.
Yeah, I say it's just truly fascinating. It's a movie way ahead of its time, and is just something so special. A little bit of a shorter episode this week, but there is just, I don't want to say there's not a lot to this movie, because there is, but just watch the fucking thing. Like it's so good. But let's go ahead and dive into these reviews here. Kevin, it's your first time watching it, and it was my pick. So I think I don't remember what we do for this. It's my pick.
I don't know either.
I'll just go first. I think that this movie is still unsettling and is a joy to watch after 70 years. We're getting close to 80 now. Gloria Swanson has a timelessly perfect performance in this movie. It's a shame she didn't win the Oscar for this. And just the intrigue of this entire thing and this kind of romantic vision of Hollywood at the time it's fascinating from head to toe. I give it a 95 out of 100, which is 4.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Nice. I also agree with you. This is a fantastic movie with Gloria Swanson being absolutely fantastic in this movie as well. I didn't put say in our little spiel there, but I loved how they used the old Paramount Studios lot and stuff like that driving onto it. Just looks so cool back in the day. But the cinematography, the camera work, the narration, everything was just absolutely fantastic. I gave this movie a 92 out of 100. It's on the top 250 for a reason, so go watch it.
There you go. But that is going to be it for our opinions this time around. We both really enjoyed this movie, so go check it out if you can. Now, the question is going to fall to you. If you've seen the movie, what do you think about it? Leave that down in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear what you have to think. Just be respectful of one another, because maybe someone out there is a fading movie star and might take advantage of you. But next week, we'll be covering the sci-fi horror classic Alien. Super excited. Spoiler alert, it's one of my favorite movies of all time, so that's going to be really fun to talk about. But make sure to watch it before next week if you've never seen it, so that way you're not spoiled. And that's about it. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those wonderful things. We do have this show that goes live every Friday at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Kevin's going to wave the whole time. We also have our live stream every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we're talking to movie news, reviews, and so much more, and other video content that will come out as well when we have time. But that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, make sure to keep those eyes on the screen.